Hello and welcome to Basketball Talk Pro. My name is Ron Ekker. I want to start right out by giving you what I promised in the emails, a very dramatic example of what statistical information can do to help you win. This is not something that is just dreamt about. This is something that is practical and functional for a coach, and that's why I like what we're doing. We may be the only basketball course for basketball coaches in statistics in the world. I don't know of any other. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but this one will hammer it home to you exactly how simply you can make a difference in your team. So let's take a look at a statement from my book, page 8 in volume 1. As I mentioned before, I wanted to give you a dramatic example of what statistics can do and fill that simple statement in the email I sent you. Simplicity, practical, and functional. This is in my book, page 8 of volume 1. It's under selection of plays. Coaches don't seem to know which plays are doing well and which ones are doing poorly. A coach I worked for had 6 plays that were very effective, 0.93 points per time, but he ran them a small percentage of the time, 25.4% of all the plays run. That's 1 out of 4. Most of the time, 74.6% of the time, he ran plays that were not effective, 0.58 points per time. He liked those plays, and he kept, and even though they were doing poorly, he kept running them, which did not allow opportunities for the good plays. Had he reversed how he used the plays, the best called 74.6% of the time, and the poorer ones 25.4%, the team would have scored an additional 780 points for the season. Amazing. Or an average of 9.7 more points per game. That would have won a lot of games. This particular year was his first year. And those numbers up there, I can assure you, are accurate because I did them. But, and we were in the running at most of the season for playoff position, but we didn't get it. Now, had we gotten that additional 9.7 points per game, we would have been in the playoffs. He may have had some chance of being named coach of the year because we took over a very, very poor team. Now, simple. He didn't even have to change his plays. He could run the same plays, just change when he ran them. Practical. This is something that coaches can use. This isn't pie in the sky stuff. This is stuff you can take to the floor and help yourself win. Functional. Amazingly enough, would be functional enough to put you in the playoffs or win maybe 8, 10, 12 more games. Amazing example. But I have to tell you, when I did scouting, I found a ton of examples like this of coaches during games that I scouted running the wrong plays. Running the wrong plays at clinch time. When they really needed a basket, they ran poor plays. This is a dramatic example of a simple, practical, functional way that statistics can help you be a better team, win more games, be a better coach. Well, I think that should suffice for dramatic. What a change that season could have been, simply by knowing what plays were working for you and which ones aren't. So, you know, no matter what, there's a lot of talk right now. Coaches not wanting to get involved in statistical information, but they just don't understand, I think, how easy it is, how simple it is. How much more simple could you have than that? You don't even have to change your plays. Just call the right ones. Call the ones because you'll know they're right because you've done the work to find out which plays are good. Well, I want to move now into to the lesson part. We bring up the subject of positive offensive possessions and negative offensive possessions. These are very important. Usually the team with the most positive offensive possessions wins. There's no number to it, but we use it and try to take advantage of it in using it. But you'll see the lesson itself, this section of the lesson, lecture 17, is primarily only showing charts that show the truth, the facts about possessions, negative and positive, and charts that you can use to chart your own teams, and simple charts that we've just worked on. As we say in the film, I like to encourage you to use ours for now because they're kind of proven. Then you can branch off. But the next 10 to 15 minutes, you will be walked through these particular charts. Okay, this chart shows some examples of what POP and NOP are like. First of all, these are NBA teams that we tracked when they got the ball from defensive rebounds or steals. Now, keep in mind here that not all teams attack after a defensive rebound or steals. This means that their POP scores may not, I'm pretty sure they won't be, as good as teams that do attack. In fact, they may not be any better than NOPs. You see, when you allow the defense to set up, whether you get it on a defensive rebound or a steal or not, if you allow them to set up, you're not going to score as well because it's like getting it after a made field goal or turnover or any one of those. So you have to take that into consideration. There are teams that simply don't break in those situations. Usually it's after a defensive rebound. Now most steals, most teams do. And one other point, remember this, that the combination of defensive rebounds and steals win 78% of the time, very close to your field goal average. And that is because those two combined have a tremendous influence on the field goal percentage because they're creating more uncontested shots. So to take a look at this chart. Now, you can do this chart, and you should. You should know every game you play, uh, what you and your opponent did in these two areas, because it's probably going to tell you why you won or lost. Um, so let's just take a look at the chart first of all. We got POPs up there. So all of these are positive offensive possessions. We kept track of the points of the possessions, number of possessions that they had. Cleveland, for example, in that first spot, had 45 uh, POPs. That's pretty strong. And they scored 39 points on them, and but their OER was only 0.87. Cleveland, at the time we did this study, did not really push on their fast breaks. Kind of walked it down, and especially in the defensive rebounds. That's why they weren't scoring as well. They had a lot of positive possessions, but they did shoot 63%. They had only 6 out of those 45 possessions were uncontested, and they shot 100% on it. They shot 52% on contested shots, which is, very good. It's hard to say, that's just one game. But that's what this chart tells us. They tell us every team what they did and how many positive possessions they got. Down at the bottom is the totals of that. And you can see, because this is consistent with the other study, it's actually done at the same time, that these teams, that when they got positive possessions, were getting about 31% of their shots were uncontested. And so 69% were contested. But look at the field goal percentage here on uncontested versus contested. That's 38% difference. That's a major difference. These teams shot 52% in these games total. Up. Here's the key, and I put it in yellow. They had a OER of 1.04. Now you know from our other class that this is good, very good, and what we're seeking is an OER that's substantially better than our opponents. So now let's go down and take a look at negative possessions. Okay, first of all, Cleveland had 68 of these, but they did have an OER of 1.01. Now, what that tells me is that Cleveland did not really pursue fast breaks aggressively. But they did have a good team the year that this was done. And so they tended to do well in the half court. That's the way they played the game. So in this particular game, that worked. And they shot 56%. We shot 83% on uncontested, and they shot only 47% uncontested, which is about like what we've been seeing all along. So you can go down the list here now, and you can see there aren't as many OERs over 1 point in this group, because they're not, these possessions will not give you good OERs. And if you look at the bottom, you can see that it was 0.88 OER. Now, you remember from our lesson that 0.15 is considered a very good uh, difference, you know. Well, here it's 16.16. If you take 0.16, and the NBA at that time they were averaging around 94 possessions. Just multiply that out. I can't do it in my head, but you see that's a lot of points difference. I mean, you're going to win a lot of games. Well, what we've shown you here is that uh, as a coach, uh, you can get that by just the difference in your possessions, the way you get the ball, uh, by what you do after you get the ball. Of uh, the team that takes advantage of those positive possessions is likely going to win most of the time. And first of all, you got to get them. Second of all, though, and just as important, you got to do something with them. But you're not going to do as well when you get the ball and have to take it out of bounds. This is the message we're trying to give you. And remember, all of this contributes to the one statistic that you are concerned with. You have to be, because it's how you win games, and that is field goal percentage. So everything we've shown you beyond that is contributing to that. You need to know this stuff, and you need to keep these kind of charts so you can look at it and say, hey, we're doing good. How come we didn't do as well against such and such a team? What are they doing that we can't score? What are they doing? What are they doing that they can score better than us? You need all of this. So we take one simple little number, field goal percentage, and but we have to take it deeper than that, and find out why we aren't as good, or we aren't as good as what we want. We have to have standards, and we've given them to you in these courses. Now it's up to you to go out and do the work, and get people helping you, and make sure they're accurate, and do the work. Uh, if you look here, it's a little blocked out, but at 24% is the same number uh, of uh, of uncontested shots. They didn't get many, but when they got them, they shot 63%, and when they got contested, to 35%. These are big gaps. I am amazed that people don't. I don't think a lot of people are even aware of this. Uh, and those that are aware of it, a lot of them don't do anything about it. In Basketball Talk Pro, we showed you a contested shot drill. Well, that particular drill, by the way, at Orlando, an NBA team, we contested 78% of our shots. That made our defense a lot better. So I've got one more chart to show you. I want to show you a chart that you can use to track. Very simple chart, but it'll be available. But I just want to take a quick look at it. So let's wait and go. We'll go to the next chart. Well, this is the simple little chart that we use to get those numbers. Um, you can expand it and make it a little bit bigger if you want to. But let's start at the top. These are the POPs. We just identified them 3A, 4A there because that's defensive rebounds and steals. On the top line, you'll notice A and AC. We know what an A is. It's a layup. The C means it was contested. So A means it was uncontested. AC means it was contested. We did this with B's and C's and D's and rebounds. Of course, not on free throws. Uh, so now you get your film out, turn it on. First time you see a defensive rebound or a steal, you just put a one there and you watch for it. And then you can see, well, they took an A. It was uncontested. And you circle it so you know it was made. And you just keep doing that. And down here, if they don't get a defensive rebound or steal, and say you got it after a made field goal, you do the same thing here. And at the end, you total those up and total up the points. You can do it quite easily because there isn't going to be a lot of numbers in each one. Mostly in this one and this one. So you just, for the points, you just go down through and count the numbers made and multiply them times 2 or 3. And your free throws times 1. You put the points there, and there you've got the makings of an OER. This is not the place to put the OER. And that's what you do. And you do it for both of them, and you got your totals down here that you can add up the same way. How many A's did you have that you made? You can put that down there. That's all there is to the chart. You just do it manually, and then you convert it to a Excel form that will add up all of these things for you correctly. And we have one of those forms too, and it'll be in your material. I didn't expose it so we could go over it because this is enough time spent on that kind of thing. So there'll be charts at every lesson. We are now moving right along, and we're getting into some pretty good stuff. So that'll be it for the charts. The terms positive offensive possession and negative offensive possessions, I know are new terms that not a lot of people know about or pay attention to, but very important information. And as we say, we're kind of building towards a climax, and it's going to come up in the next lesson. Lesson 6 is a dynamite lesson. But all this stuff is things that are practical for coaches. You can use it. You can help yourself win. And it's simple. Nothing is complicated here. Nothing requires a master's degree or a doctor's degree. This is simply coaching. And I've said, as I always say, statistics are not coaching. Statistics can help you create as a coach from facts. At the top up here, there's a little quote. You can't manage what you can't measure, by Peter Drucker, great business writer. I think that says it all. You want to manage your team properly, you've got to measure your team properly. So, stay with us now because we're going to go to the third part of this lesson, and you'll see the whole lesson. And anyone who's interested in more information, contact me either by email. You can find it right on, and my phone number right on the email that you get sent. So we'll wait to see you next time. Thank you very much for listening.